All right, so get ready because we're about to take a deep dive into the world of intelligent agents. And specifically, we've got a ton of cool material about Microsoft's open source AI framework, AutoGen.
Mm.
And, we're going to be looking at their latest update. It seems like everyone's trying to level up their AI game. And this is definitely a way to kind of get ahead of the curve, especially because this update makes AutoGen even more user-friendly.
Yeah, it's really cool to see how they're trying to break down those barriers for people who maybe aren't, hardcore coders. It's kind of like democratizing AI in a sense.
Yeah, totally. So we're going to be focusing on this new AutoGen update, and we're actually basing this on a breakdown from a YouTube channel called AI UGen.
Mm.
And they always seem to find the coolest stuff. But here's the thing. This isn't just about making code pretty or anything. This update is making waves because it's significantly expanding what people can actually do with AutoGen, even if they're not experts. You know what I mean?
Right. And take the 0.4.2 update, for example. It's not just about, having better code quality and documentation, which are nice to have, of course. But what's really significant is this focus on intuitive design using modularity and messaging.
Okay, so break that down for me. What does they actually mean for someone who wants to use AutoGen?
Well, think of it like beading with Legos. You have all these modular components that you can just easily snap together to create different structures. With this update, AutoGen's code is becoming more modular, and the way that the AI agents communicate is becoming more standardized.
So it's less about writing complex code from scratch and more about assembling these pre-built blocks in a way that makes sense for your task.
Exactly. And they've even added support for the C# language, which opens up AutoGen to a whole new group of developers and applications.
I see a pattern here, more accessibility, more power. But let's talk about another big change they've introduced in this update, the integration of Magentic 1.
Now, this is where things get really interesting. We've talked about Magentic 1 before, haven't we? It's a very versatile multi-agent system that's really good at handling web and file processing tasks.
Yeah, it's like having a whole team of digital assistants that can automate all sorts of tedious tasks.
Exactly. And now it's directly integrated into AutoGen's agent chat platform.
So what does that mean practically? Can you give me an example?
Sure, imagine you need to get the top 10 Google search results for a specific topic, including the titles and the links. Instead of doing that manually, you could use AutoGen and Magentic 1 to write a Python script that would automate that whole process.
Wait, hold on. I'm not a coder at all. You're telling me I could do something like that with AutoGen?
That's the beauty of this update. They've
Yeah.
made it much more user-friendly. The YouTube video even walks through the steps, and it's surprisingly straightforward.
So it's not just for the AI experts anymore.
Not at all. They're really trying to lower the barrier to entry for anyone who wants to experiment with these powerful tools.
Okay, my mind is officially blown, but let's back up for a second and talk about another thing that caught my eye, running an Ollama model locally within AutoGen. First of all, what is Ollama?
Ollama is a really powerful open source language model, kind of like a smaller, more accessible version of some of the bigger models out there. And the fact that you can now easily integrate it with AutoGen opens up a whole world of possibilities.
The video showed a really simple example of two agents using Ollama to count from 1 to 5, taking turns. It might seem basic, but it demonstrates a crucial concept.
Absolutely. That round-robin group chat feature is about more than just counting. It's about the ability to coordinate multiple AI agents, which is essential for tackling complex tasks. Imagine a team of AI agents working together to research a topic, analyze data, and then generate a report.
Okay, so we're seeing a trend here. AutoGen is not just powerful on its own, it's designed to work well with other AI tools like Ollama.
That's a great observation. I think it really speaks to the future of AI development. We're moving toward a more interconnected ecosystem of tools and platforms, and AutoGen is in a great position to be a major player in that space.
And it's all becoming more accessible, which is really exciting. But let's dive into another feature that highlights this collaborative aspect, AutoGen teams.
This is where you can really start to see the power of multi-agent systems. Imagine you're working on a coding project. Instead of doing everything yourself, you can use AutoGen teams to assemble a team of AI agents to help you.
Okay, so it's kind of like having a built-in development team.
Exactly. The video uses the example of writing Python code, where one agent acts as the developer writing the code, and another agent acts as a code reviewer, providing feedback and ensuring quality.
Wow, that's like having a pair programmer right there in your computer.
Yeah.
And does the video actually show how you set that up?
Yeah, they walk through the entire process, from defining the roles of each agent to setting the termination conditions for the task. For example, in this case, the workflow would end when both agents agree that the code meets the requirements, which they signal by typing agree to pass.
That makes sense. It's like setting clear goals for your AI team.
And that level of control and customization is what makes AutoGen so powerful. You're not just giving commands, you're defining the workflow and letting the AI agents handle the execution.
So we've got this incredible platform that can integrate with other tools, work collaboratively, and automate complex tasks. Where do we go from here?
Well, there's one more feature we need to unpack, AutoGen's swarm functionality, and this is where things get really interesting, even a little bit sci-fi.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about Swarm.
Think of Swarm as a hive mind for AI agents.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mode where you can have multiple agents working together autonomously without needing you to micromanage every step. So it's like they're having this silent conversation going on in the background, constantly sharing information and adjusting their actions based on what everyone else is doing.
Okay, so give me a real-world example. Like, how would this Tesla research task actually play out in Swarm?
So imagine you just start with a simple prompt, right? Conduct market research on Tesla stock. The research planning coordinator would kind of take the lead and assign those initial tasks to the other agents. So the financial analyst might start pulling stock data, the news analyst could begin searching for relevant news articles, and the report writer would, prepare that basic outline for the final report.
Okay, so then how would they know when to move on to the next step? Would I have to tell them?
No, they figure that out on their own based on that shared context and the progress that's being made. So for example, once the financial analyst has enough stock data, it would signal that it's ready for the next task, maybe analyzing the data for trends or comparing it to, previous periods.
So it's like a completely autonomous workflow. How would it end? Would it just keep going forever?
Well, that's where the termination condition comes in. You can actually define specific keywords or conditions that signal the end of the task. In the video's example, the task ends when the report writer gets a specific keyword end from the research planning coordinator, which tells it that, okay, all the necessary information has been gathered and analyzed and we're good to go.
So I could literally set this whole thing in motion, walk away, and come back to like a fully completed market research report on Tesla.
That's the idea. Of
Oh.
course, you could always monitor the process and, give feedback if you need to. But the whole goal of Swarm is to make this truly autonomous and efficient workflow for these really complex tasks.
Okay, I am so blown away. It's incredible to see how these advancements are just pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI.
And this is really just the beginning. AutoGen is an open source framework, which means it's constantly evolving and getting better as more people contribute to its development.
And that open source aspect is so important, isn't it? It means that anyone can access these tools and actually contribute to, the advancement of AI, not just these big tech companies.
Absolutely. It's really democratizing AI development, which is so crucial to make sure that these technologies are used for good and they benefit society as a whole.
But let's be real for a second here. There's some potential downsides to all of this, right? When we're talking about AI agents making decisions autonomously, it's hard not to think about the risks involved.
You're right. We need to be very mindful of the potential consequences of these technologies and make sure we're developing them responsibly. That's another reason why open source development is so important, because it allows for that transparency and it lets more people be part of the conversation about the ethical implications of AI.
So it's not just about, the technical stuff, but it's also about the ethical frameworks and, the societal discussions that need to happen alongside all of this.
Exactly. We have to be asking ourselves some really tough questions about the role of AI in our lives and what kind of future we want to create with these technologies.
It's a lot to think about, but I have to admit, I'm also really excited about the possibilities.
As you should be. This is such a transformative time, and it's up to all of us to shape the future of AI in a way that benefits humanity.
I love that.
Wow.
So where do we go from here? What are some of the key takeaways for our listeners? What do we want them to really remember about AutoGen and this whole world of intelligent agents?
For me, I think the biggest thing is just realizing that the bar to get into using some really powerful AI is getting lower and lower. You don't have to be, a coding genius to start building incredible stuff with AutoGen.
Yeah, and that's kind of exciting, but also maybe a little scary, right? Because it means that more people have access to these tools.
Yeah.
And that could lead to, a huge wave of innovation. That YouTube video did a great job of showing what's possible. It's almost like a little challenge to the viewers, like, hey, here are the tools. Now, what are you going to create?
And I hope that's the question our listener is asking right now. Like, what problem are they curious about? Is there some boring task that they wish they could just automate? Maybe AutoGen is the answer.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and you're feeling inspired, I say go for it. Head over to that GitHub repository, check out the video we've been talking about, and just start playing around with it.
You might be surprised by what you can create. Maybe you'll be the one who builds the next amazing AI application that changes the world.
That's a great point to end on. So thanks for joining us for this deep dive into AutoGen and this whole world of intelligent agents.
Until next time, keep exploring, and we'll catch you out there in the crazy world of AI.